Now, I have admitted that Crusaders of the Lost Mark has become my favorite episode of the series, and that still has not changed. However, it being my favorite does not mean I think it's the best. In fact, there are plenty of things wrong with this episode, and one of the biggest is Spoiled Rich. I'm gonna come out and say it. I hate this... Well, no, I have no feeling at all toward... Except... No! That's right. This character has no reason to exist... Although... Okay, you know what? I've really reached an impasse with this character. After finally sitting down and analyzing her appearance, I will say I do hate her character in this episode solely, but I will not say she was useless. In fact, I see her purpose. And with a few tweaks, she could have been an interesting and worthwhile boost to Diamond Tiara's reformation story. So Spoiled Rich has two main appearances, her interaction with Diamond Tiara after losing the election, and the final straw mockery after the school board meeting. Immediately after meeting her, you get your first impression of this character, and really all you need to know. She is the overbearing mother, there to give the audience a reason for Diamond Tiara's bullying and provide a lead-in to... that song. If you don't know, this is my least favorite song in the entire series. Only for the lyrics, not the music or vocals. As it's just a pity-me type of song, and just makes Diamond Tiara seem so weak, which I've shown on multiple occasions she's not. I still stand that this song would have worked so much better as a self-evaluation, with her coming to terms with all the horribly mean things she's done and how it's led up to this point. So now she must learn to change for the better, and be the pony she needs to be. This notion of her always wanting to change her life comes out of nowhere. There never was a previous episode that hinted she was not happy with the life she was living. Well, of course she's not going to admit she was unhappy with her life, because she's hiding her insecurities and family problems as not to worry any pony. And besides, she always had Silver Spoon to fall back on. That actually is the best argument I've heard, and it made me realize my actual problem with the song, and really her whole reformation in general, is that it involves Diamond Tiara lying to herself to invoke pity on the audience. Maybe she did at some point think to herself her life could have been better, but there were still times she loved the life she was living. There's barely any mention of that. Instead, we get that she was just unhappy and miserable all the time and just needed the right guidance. There is this line,
"You've spent your life acting like a high horse and raised me to follow in your hoofprints. At first I thought this was fine,
but that was still just a lead-in to Spoiled Rich being the reason she has no friends. I need to believe Diamond Tiara wants to change, and to do that her character needs to admit her mistakes she made in the past as her mistakes. Apologize for the teasing, be regretful for your hurtful decisions, and take responsibility for your previous actions, and not blame it all on the family. Because it wasn't like her mother was breathing down her neck when she was the editor-in-chief or decided to mock Scootaloo's ability to fly. Her mother's influence and drive to win may have inspired it, but she still made the decision. So, let's get back to her mother. Now, it would seem rather one-track-minded of me to talk about why a character does not work without offering an alternate solution. So, you know how you can make Spoiled Rich work without playing the sympathy card for the audience? Make her normal. I don't mean make her the nicest mother, because that would raise the question of how Diamond Tiara got to the way she was. Still, we didn't even need an explanation of why she bullies, because her first episode did it for us.
I mean, waiting for your cutie mark is so last week. You've got yours. I just got mine. We all have them already. I mean, almost all of us have them already.
She's just a kid showing off something that's a big deal to have in society. If Spoiled Rich was maybe slightly neglectful of her daughter, but loved her and just was not always there, now Diamond Tiara truly has no one to turn to when her world is this bad. She has always gotten what she wanted from her parents and always had someone to share that joy with, and now she has no one. And then, cue the song of her realizing her mistakes and discovering the desire to change her life. Now, before you are so quick to agree or disagree with me, there is one issue with this ideal character change, and that is with her second appearance. As much as I ragged on making Spoiled Rich the antagonist, it really does create the strongest argument for Diamond Tiara to want to change. Standing up to your own mother takes great strength, and I admire that in her. Still doesn't help that the mother is terribly mean for no inexplicable reason, so let's give her a reason. Keeping Spoiled Rich normal would not make her mean enough to stand up to in the end. But let's say her character also changed behind the scenes. Something we didn't really see. She seemed to be portrayed as very one-note and biased her entire life, and just inflicting that view on Diamond Tiara. What if she was very high-class and focused on social standing, but never felt the need to control her daughter as she was very well-behaved? Suddenly, she begins coming home with stories of being challenged, humiliated, and losing her confidence. Spoiled Rich realizes that this must not happen again, so she becomes a little stricter with her daughter. But Diamond Tiara still keeps losing over and over again to fillies she called blank flanks. Her mother must keep this fire of confidence burning, adopting the derogatory name her daughter uses and creating a mindset that she is better than them in order to keep her social standing high. But as more and more losses continue, Spoiled Rich just becomes numb to this whole ordeal and begins losing confidence in her daughter, thus resulting in the harshness we see and even the neglect I mentioned earlier, but less as a normal mother and more of a mother who's too concerned with her own social standing. She begins to have resentment toward the Blank Flanks herself for beating her daughter every time. This is why she's mean. This idea that she was always hated fillies with no cutie marks and forcing that mindset on her daughter,
oh, look at that face, it's so weirdly adorable, I love it,
does not work, considering only 2 of the 7 previous episodes involved her mocking them for that. The drive to win would have worked better, but still not explained everything. This story was told as best as it could, but was still rushed, and Spoiled Rich's flat character did not help. What needed to happen was for Diamond to reflect more on her mistakes, and a better explanation for her mother's attitude. Have Spoiled Rich keep her emphasis on high standing, but only recently develop a hatred toward the CMC, which doesn't need to be revealed until the big speech. Diamond Tiara can think for herself. Her mother did not need to be there, and really was never there anyway. I guess this could be my headcanon, but this is more of an ideal since the episode clearly disputes this when Diamond Tiara flat out says her mother was always like this. Again, stop putting the blame on her. Say things like, we need to stop calling them such mean and hurtful names. Take some responsibility. I just want people to see Diamond Tiara having no issues with her Spoiled Rich lifestyle, up until the consequences had arisen, and I can learn to accept her lifestyle built upon the influences of Spoiled Rich.